When I was a kid, I was terrified of heights, and this fear stalked me through my teens and early 20s and threatened to chase me into the working world unless I took action. So I decided to face it head-on by learning to fly a plane. Now, as you might imagine, I was nervous at the thought of this new endeavor, but I was also excited and I thought mentally prepared because I had an image of what a plane was. After all, I live on Earth. And then they showed me a Cessna 152 training plane, which is basically a flying smart car. A tuna can with wings, something terrifying to a guy like me. Luckily, I had a phenomenal flight instructor, and over time, he got me near the plane, and then he got me in the plane, and then we were flying. And to my surprise, things went pretty well until one day we were turning touch and goes around the airport, just taking off and landing. And we were on that taking off part, about 600-700 feet in the air, banking slowly to the left. And my door flies open. So naturally, I begin to panic and scream something incredibly insightful like, "My door's open, my door's open!" Which, by the way, when you're flying a plane, this doesn't help. If you learned one thing from the conference today, sir. But there I was, freaking out, my door's open, and my flight instructor looks at me and says, "Close it." So I reach over, I close the door, sheepishly begin to fly the plane again. And at that point, he says, "Tim, sometimes things only look like big problems." Man, even as he said it, I realized how powerful it was, how full of knowledge and practical wisdom. But it was also the perfect example of coaching results. In just a few words, he got me from where I was to where I wanted or, well, needed to be. From crisis to control, chaos to confidence, total concern over my very life to this super cool sense of chill. Since that day, I've never been afraid of heights, not for a moment. Now, in fairness, this was a chance occurrence and one I would never want to repeat. And it worked in part because although I imagined this gap I was facing to be huge, it was actually quite small. Just close the door and move on. But sometimes in life, in relationships, in business, and in our careers, the chasms we cross are immense, and they're filled with obstacles. In those cases, it's helpful to have a professional coach in your corner. Trouble is, with so many options, it's hard to know who to pick. So here's a guide in case you're looking. When you're looking for a great coach, you'll know it when you see it. And by see it, I mean three very specific things. First, are they successful? If your business or career coach hasn't built a business or navigated a complex career, think twice before you hire them. This is not to say they should have the same skills and background that you do. That's a mentor. That's different. But they should have a framework and history of success so they can guide you to yours. Second is education. They should be trained as a coach, ideally been to coaching school and certified, so they have the tools and resources to help you. I mean, let's face it, your friends, family, colleagues, and coworkers can all sympathize if you have a toothache. But when Uncle Ned says, "Well, I'm not a dentist per se, but I've got some pliers in the garage," it's time to run, Jack. And finally, your coach should be an effective example of their own process, someone whose words and actions align. This is critical because it speaks to the hallmark of credibility and the foundation of any good coaching relationship. At minimum, you want a successful, educated example. You gotta see it. From there, it's about picking a person and a process that you connect with. As an author, my coaching process is narrative-based. I turn goals into success stories by teaching people to embrace what I call the accountability of authorship. Imagine learning to purposefully draft the story of your life, moving seamlessly from average employee to exceptional leader, frazzled parent to full-time inspiration, or in my case, cautious kid to daring adult. What's your next chapter? What role will you play? Over the years as a coach and the director of a global coaching program, I've discovered that the major transitions happen when desire and action meet. If you have the desire, it's a great time to take action. After all, your life's a story. Learn to write it well.